Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for attending our webinar on Samsung's MagicInfo all-in-one digital signage solution, led by Jonathan Braun of Braun Consulting and sponsored by Samsung. My name is Heather Wagaman. I'm IAVI's marketing manager. If you're not already familiar with us, IAVI has been distributing Pro AV supplies since 1997, and our sales team has just under 200 combined years of experience in the field of Pro AV sales with multiple industry certifications in offices across the country. As you can see here by this map, which is actually already outdated, we just added 4 new sales representatives this week, so this map will actually be updated very shortly. We do carry and stock your favorite brands like Samsung, and every member of the sales team is required to attend regular factory-led trainings on the latest products and programs by our manufacturer partners. Our sales reps have expertise in speccing complete solutions in multiple vertical markets, and no project is too large or too small. We're proud to serve as a one-stop shop for hardware and accessories, and our experienced logistics team can offer same-day nationwide shipping for just-in-time delivery on projects that are time-sensitive, allowing us to become an extension of your warehousing abilities. In fact, if you were not already aware, this year we are proud to announce that we've opened a second distribution facility in Indianapolis, Indiana, giving you more service. We have a registration expert at our bid desk who can save you valuable time and profits by registering every aspect of your projects for you. We also make sure we keep you updated on the manufacturer's most current spiffs and rebate programs, always available on IAVI.com. Thank you again for attending our webinar. Jonathan, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Please take it away.
Thank you very much, Heather. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. I think we're going to have a great discussion. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with Samsung. I would be shocked if you were not. But Samsung has been doing an awful lot of things to develop their digital signage solutions over the last few years. And what I'd like to share with you today is an overview of all of the different versions of Samsung's MagicInfo all-in-one digital signage system, including a brand new version, that this is the first time I'm going to get to speak about it in public, MagicInfo Express, which is a new entry-level solution aimed at small businesses that are going to be ideal for many of our customers as we start thinking about what our typical digital signage system really is. So without too much further ado, the whole principle is taking digital signage from complex to simple. Samsung wants to enable a transition from very complex groups of technologies to something that's so easy almost anyone can do it, making it very simple for you to go out and sell it. One of the most important aspects of what we do as Pro AV integrators, installers, and resellers is we have to educate our customers on what they want to buy. That's why they come to us instead of just going to their favorite big box store and picking it up off the shelf, going through the checkout and trying to figure it out themselves. They work with us because they want guidance, they want information. We have to explain it to them. And so if we've got products that are simple to understand and easy for us to master, we can also relate that knowledge to them. And that's really what we're doing, because you really should not have to study that book. Yes, it really does exist. When we think about digital signage today, there's a lot of different things that go into the actual expense or capital expenditure for launching even just a single display. We have the display itself, the player hardware, the display mount, software, management, installation, and then project management. Now, this all represents quite a considerable amount of cost. Net-net, it's going to end up being beneficial for people to implement digital signage. That's why digital signage is growing at between 22 and 25% per year. So it's something that's a rapidly growing market segment for all of us. So obviously people are buying this stuff, right? But as we start looking at this expenditure, what if we can eliminate a major portion of it? Well, we're not going to take away the display. That's kind of a given. There needs to be a display there. Hopefully it'll be a Samsung one, since I do collect a check from the company, so I might be a little biased. But you're all here attending this webinar, so I'm thinking you believe in what Samsung's doing. At least I hope. Just leave me with my delusions, just in case you don't. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we can't eliminate that. If we did, well, then we've got a mount on the wall, cables hanging out, and then we've got to have somebody standing next to it with one of those arrow signs and breakdance. Entertaining, but not what we're trying to do. What if we could eliminate the player? That's the second largest chunk there. Well, Samsung's approach is, let's take a look at a standard digital signage installation. We have a display, We've got power going into that display, so that's one cable. We have power going to a media player and a network connection going to that media player. We have to buy the media player. We have the video cable, VGA, DVI, HDMI, whatever it might be, going from the media player to the display. And then if we want to be able to control the display, provided your digital signage software supports it, we have to have RS-232. And you've got now how many different companies involved? The display, the mount, the media player, cables, software. I'm counting 5. What if we can take that thing and that, and we Frankenstein them together? Well, what if instead of Frankensteining them together, what if we actually build a really high-quality solution that combines those together into one simple, streamlined unit? Well, that's what Samsung has now done today. Regardless of what level of MagicInfo we're talking about, from the entry-level MagicInfo Express, going through MagicInfo Lite, MagicInfo Premium S, and MagicInfo Premium I, all 4 versions, we've now made a simplified, streamlined solution that makes it easy for you to sell it and install it. One company is involved. Well, okay, you've still got a mount, so 2 companies. But one company is involved providing you the display, the media player, and the software. Hang it on the wall, give it power, give it a network, hang it up, plug it in, turn it on. What makes this possible? Samsung's new system-on-a-chip technology, or SoC. You've probably heard that term being thrown around a lot lately. This is getting to be something that Samsung's using in their marketing. We're also hearing more discussion about it in terms of things like cell phones. Well, this is really where that technology was developed for, is cell phones and small form factor computers, where we take and we embed things like the CPU, the memory, the video codec, and storage all into a single piece of silicon. This is something Samsung has had a lot of expertise in building thanks to their cell phone division, and now they've brought that technology and embedded it into the displays. Last year we had introduced the first round of system-on-a-chip enabled displays in the C series, but for 2014 now we have the D series, and this D series is far advanced. You may have seen other material from Samsung talking about that technology, but now it's become a quad-core processor, more memory, more storage, and a better video codec. And this is included in several of the display series at no additional cost. So which displays come with the SoC? Now, I'm not going to do a lot of information on product. I'm assuming everybody here can read. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be out in public unsupervised. So I'm going to be able to say, well, if you want to learn more about the displays beyond the brief overview I'm going to give, I'll be glad to send you a spec sheet. I'll put my email address up at the end of the presentation. You can read it. Let's not waste everybody's time with speeds and feeds today. I want to get the highlights. The D series is going to encompass 3 models. The DB, the basic model, and that's going to come in a 10, a 22, 32, 40, 48, and a 55, 350 nits, 16.7, 10mm bezel, 1.8 inches thick. All the fun benefits of having that SoC on board. This one can be made Wi-Fi with a USB dongle, integrated wired network, can be made touch, and also offers a PC module for MagicInfo Premium I. The mainstream DM, 32, 40, 48, 55, 65, 75, and hopefully coming in the near future an 82. So 450 nits, a little brighter, 24/7. This is the replacement for the ME series. This should be your mainstream bread and butter display. 24/7 standard, yes. Same 10mm bezel size, same 1.8-inch chassis depth, same touch modules as the DB, Wi-Fi integrated, no USB dongle needed, fully built-in system on a chip. And if you need something that's a little higher performance, a little higher brightness, the DH series, 40, 48, and 55 comes in a 700 nit, otherwise very similar. And so these 3 are kind of going to be your mainstream displays that will give you the tools you need to go out and work with digital signage. Also, if you want to get a little fancy, the UE series in the D also contains that system on a chip. This is one that was designed originally for video walls, but we see some people really like that edge-lit profile, 1.18 inches thick, and that very narrow bezel, 5.2 millimeters, 5.5 millimeters on these. It's actually 5.4 and a fraction, but, you know, there you go. But what we're doing is giving somebody a little more kind of sleek, sexy profile. Some customers have liked this. These are also great for video walls, but they do have that built-in system on a chip for digital signage, and they come with MagicInfo. Go figure. Now, I want to start at the most basic. This is the brand new product that Samsung has just recently launched, the new RM series, under a brand they're calling Smart Signage TV. This is a very distinct series, and let me state up front, this does not replace any of those other displays we just talked about or any of the higher-end digital signage solutions that we're going to speak about in the coming few minutes. What the RM series does is it introduces a new all-in-one, everything in the box, easy solution for small customers. Those guys that you work with that don't necessarily have an IT department, don't necessarily have any configuration knowledge, they just want to buy a box and make it work. So this Smart Signage TV is based on the same kind of commercial displays that the other displays we just talked about are. The RM series, okay, brand new, only comes in two sizes, a 40 and a 48. Now these are going to be very reduced functions compared to the other displays. Only a couple of inputs, 3 HDMI, 1 tuner, and a composite input. Why, I'm not sure, but yes, still has a composite. We're looking at about a 2-inch thick display, 9.5 millimeter bezel, but the bottom is 15 millimeters, so it's thicker, and you can see that little bump at the bottom where the lit Samsung logo is. Built-in tuner, built-in speakers, embedded Wi-Fi. This is the only networking this display has is Wi-Fi. And it comes with an onboard media player, a system on a chip, but it only has one version of MagicInfo, the brand new MagicInfo Express. This is something I'm very excited to share with everybody because this shows the power of what Samsung can provide in an entry-level solution for no additional cost. This is the most cost-effective way to implement basic digital signage that I've seen. It does have a USB input for the media player and comes with the same standard 3-year on-site parts and labor commercial warranty as Samsung's other displays. But you'll see a couple of things that are different. One, here's the display itself, so you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like, but it comes with a table stand in the box, standard consumer style table stand. There you go. See, it looks quite nice. And it comes with a wall mount in the box with all of the installation hardware you need for either one. So this means when your customer selects this display, they've got everything in the box. Comes with a little thumb drive as well, which contains the manuals and the MagicInfo Express software. Now, if anybody's familiar with MagicInfo, or after the webinar, after I've educated you on the other 3 versions of MagicInfo, what you will see is that the MagicInfo Express is a really simple solution. There's very little onboard functionality. It's meant around taking a piece of software called the MagicInfo Express Content Creator and using it over a wireless network. Does not have wired network. That's my first screw up today. Heather's going to keep score and she'll get me at the end if I make more than 5 mistakes. So it comes with a wireless integrated network, and it's meant to load on any standard PC. Sorry, Mac guys, we only have a PC version of the software at this point. So you load the software. There's 0 configuration. There is no setup. Okay? You load the software on a computer that's on the same network. You join the display to the Wi-Fi, and you've got the simplest, easiest to use digital signage solution I've ever encountered. Okay? So this is meant to allow someone to get up and running as simply as possible. Now, the display, like I said, has that onboard media player. It does have a USB port so you can add additional storage. Okay? And then it's got a little bit of built-in storage, and like I said, they have built-in Wi-Fi. Here's a look at the software. There's 2 buttons. I'm not kidding. You plug in the thumb drive, you launch the software. It'll update itself if there's a new version. Okay? The display will actually be able to be updated from here if you need to update the firmware for some reason. It's very simple to do. And so this software allows you to simply create content. There's 200 built-in templates already in existence. Some landscape, some portrait, some support picture-in-picture. MagicInfo Express supports photos, videos, and text, and picture-in-picture. 4 content types. You can pick from any of these templates. You select them. You can go and you can edit every aspect. You can change the text, font, text color. You can change background color, add logos, change the pictures, create playlists. So you've got the ability to edit everything. And so you simply select the layout that looks good to you, that suits your purposes, and you populate it with your content. Once you've done that, you can see here the scheduling interface. Very simple. Select a template from the library. There's a little content browser that pops up. Drag it in. Select when it starts, select when it stops, add another one. You can change inputs. You can set an on-off timer. You can have multiple days of schedule, so you can set different days. So this gives a full set of capability to schedule, But as you can see, very simple, easy to use interface. Once you put together a schedule, then you push it to the displays. Now, this just simply detects the display over the network automatically, and you hit send and it pushes that content to the display begins playing it. Or you can publish it via a thumb drive. That's it. In fact, if I trained you on how to use the software using live software, it would take maybe 5 minutes more than that discussion that we just had. Very simple, very straightforward solution. I think so easy even a child could do it is probably a little extreme, but reality is I think the kids are smarter than we are anyway, so probably could. But this is so simple, I think anybody can build digital signage. So that's the new entry-level solution. Moving up from there, what used to be the entry-level solution, MagicInfo Lite. Now, we're moving back to the mainstream commercial displays, the D series, DB, DM, DH, and the UEs. Okay, now we're into that mainstream MagicInfo that we've had now for a couple of years. I've been working with MagicInfo since it started about 8 years ago with the very first version. It was called something different back then, but we call it MagicInfo today. And MagicInfo Lite is our entry-level solution. Now, very similar, except now we have an SD card slot for the display, so you can upgrade storage that way in addition to USB and onboard storage, more onboard storage. And we have a wired network card as well as wireless via USB in the DB, standard on DMDH. Okay? And the UE does not have Wi-Fi, just FYI. Okay, so we can take content in MagicInfo Lite. We have a lot more onboard functions, so we can plug content in via USB. We can autoplay via USB like a big digital photo frame. We can actually go on the display and we can go in and we can build a schedule all with the infrared remote right on the display. Or we can network them. And MagicInfo Lite includes 25 displays over a network, and that's at no cost. There's an additional license that IAVI will be happy to supply you with if you need more displays for a customer's project. And so this is, again, 25 free, so we can network it. It uses the same MagicInfo server as the other versions of MagicInfo now. So we have one server for everything, and it allows for centralized management through a web browser. So a user can go to their web browser, they can launch it, they can log in, they can upload content, they can set up playlists, set up schedules, all centrally managed across multiple sites, multiple users. Very powerful solution. MagicInfo Lite covers 4 content file types: photos, videos, PowerPoint, and Flash, and it plays those full screen. No multiple zones, no built-in templates, but much more powerful back-end management and scheduling than something like MagicInfo Express. Now we're going to step up to the mid-level product, MagicInfo Premium S. MagicInfo Premium S is a nicely upgraded version of MagicInfo Lite. And the MagicInfo Premium S software builds on top of what MagicInfo Lite can do. That's why I only have one slide on it today, because it covers a lot of those same capabilities. Now, MagicInfo Premium S, for those of you who may have worked with it before, if any of you have, you will have seen a lot of upgrades change with the D series versus Premium S under the C series we had last year. Why? We now have a more powerful onboard media player inside the display. That new upgraded system on a chip went from a dual-core to a quad-core processor. And when they did that, that removed many of the limitations that MagicInfo Premium S originally had. So by using that onboard system on a chip, by the way, just something I want to make sure I point out that I do want to be really clear on, the client software for Premium S and MagicInfo Lite is embedded in the display. No additional hardware is required. You can select through the menus. You can go into the system menu and tell it what mode it is using, MagicInfo Lite, MagicInfo Premium S. Okay? And so that gives us the ability to select that. And all the customer needs to do is get the appropriate software licenses. So Premium S takes what Lite can do, similar capabilities on the infrared remote, except now we have 60 built-in templates. Yes, there's 60, 30 landscape, 30 portrait, that are built into the display. So for somebody who wants to go in and use it in a non-networked capacity, where they just want to hang it up and turn it on, or put it on a table and turn it on, they can actually build their entire layout right there on the display very similar to how MagicInfo Express works, in fact. So, again, 30 portrait, 30 landscape, very nice. You can build it, or, and it'll work off USB and all that kind of fun stuff, or we can network it. Now, this does not come with any free licenses. A 60-day trial is included for up to 5 displays. After that, it is a purchasable license, 1 license per display. Okay? So, very nice solution. What does it add on top of MagicInfo Lite? Well, some new content. We now have PDF capabilities, and in addition to being able to use multiple zones, okay? Now, by the way, one distinction I want to point out, when you network the MagicInfo Premium S solution, you can use the MagicInfo Premium Author software, which is a multi-zone template creation tool to make custom templates. Okay? That's something that you cannot do with Lite and you can't do with Express. It's unique to the Premium S and Premium I products. So I've got, this is a great solution. Oh, in addition, by the way, we also have picture-in-picture capability with this product as well, so we can embed a source into the display. Now, when I talk about picture-in-picture with this and with Express, let me be really clear on what that is. When we do that, that means we're going to connect video sources directly to the display's input, and the display's onboard picture-in-picture processor will be used to display that on screen with specific pixel dimensions. Okay, so that's how that works. So it does require that the video source be connected to the display. Now we have one final level of MagicInfo software, and that's MagicInfo Premium I, Samsung's flagship software product. Now, we have to take a departure from the other 3 solutions, because now we're talking about a high-end solution that's meant to meet higher demands, that can scale to larger sizes, can incorporate more content, including dynamic content. So when we do that, that means we do need to step up to a separate accessory media player. And within this, that means we're going to be using Samsung's PC modules, either SBBs or plug-in modules. I'll talk more about those in a minute, depending on the model of display. Okay, so with MagicInfo Premium I, like the other solutions, we take standard content files. But MagicInfo Premium I really doesn't have any unnetworked functions. Yes, you can publish via USB thumb drive in a pinch, but it's not meant for that. MagicInfo Premium I is meant as an enterprise-class network-only solution. So there is a centralized server, and it's a web-based server utility where the customer can host it themselves, runs on a computer inside their network, and they access it through a web browser. Once they go to that web page, they can upload content, they can create schedules, they can publish those schedules. They're also going to get that MagicInfo Premium Author tool. The Author is a graphically driven content creation tool that allows a user to build custom templates, multi-zone layouts, and incorporate additional content. Those get uploaded to that central server as well. When the server assigns a schedule to a display, MagicInfo Premium I works on the concept of store and forward. That means that the content gets pushed from the display, or from the server, excuse me, to the display. That's 2. Heather's going to get me if I get to 5. So we push content from the server to the display, and it's stored there for playback, which means that connection is not as critical. This is vastly superior to streaming-based solutions where it's one thing when you're streaming a video on YouTube and, well, okay, something interrupts your video of a cat playing a keyboard, you'll live. We're talking about something that's more critical, like a welcome board at a corporate lobby or a menu board in a fast food restaurant. We can't afford to have that stutter. So that store and forward playback system allows us to download all the content automatically into the display or into the PC module and begin playback. That's true of all versions of MagicInfo, by the way. So that web-based utility allows us to manage the network. We can manage multiple displays. It can work with any number of displays. It can also span multiple sites and have multiple users working on it simultaneously. There can be various levels of user access assigned. Now, MagicInfo, of course, as you've seen, is very Windows-centric, so everything does run under Windows. The server needs to be a Windows platform. The Author tool is Windows only. The web pages will actually work in any major web browser. Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, Chrome, Opera, all of them. So that could conceivably be used. Oh, and by the way, something really cool that gets overlooked a lot, there's a mobile app. Okay? There's actually a mobile app for MagicInfo Express that'll let you do all the same functions as the MagicInfo Express content creator. I should have mentioned that earlier. My apologies. And there's a mobile app for MagicInfo Server that you can get from the server or from the App Store if you happen to be one of those weird, fruit-loving iOS people. Sorry, Samsung makes me say that. But there's actually an app that gives you all of the functions of the server now on your Android or iOS device, smartphone, or tablet. Very, very handy. So the author I mentioned, you can see here it's a PC-based utility, very similar to a lot of Adobe products. So if you've worked with Flash, or if you've worked with PowerPoint, you've worked with Premiere. Yeah, I know PowerPoint's not an Adobe product, it's a Microsoft product. If you work with those kinds of things, it's going to be a graphically driven content creation tool that allows you to build out multiple zones of content, and this will work for Premium I or Premium S. Now, as I mentioned, we do have to use a PC module. Before anybody yells at me, yes, I know that's last year's model of display. That's an ME series display, but it was a great picture of the SBB, so I had to still use it. So sue me. But they do mount on the back. I want to talk a little bit about networking. All of the MagicInfo systems do operate under TCP/IP standard networking. Now, I'm going to separate MagicInfo Express from there because Express is so dead simple. It's one site, simple point-to-point. For the other three solutions, this can be spanning multiple sites because anywhere you have IP visibility from your server to your display, whether it's joined by physical cable, Wi-Fi, or the internet, we can actually provide that information to anywhere. So you can have displays spanning multiple sites from a single corporate server, and you can have users in multiple locations. All this is going to require is some forwarding rules and network port management to be configured to allow the traffic through. We can have as many displays on the same network as you want. Each display does operate independently. So you could have all of them playing the same content, or each one could be playing its own individual content. And again, this is true of all MagicInfo versions. And I already mentioned how we can span multiple sites. What kind of content can MagicInfo Premium I use? Well, there's some additional things here. Photos and images, that's the same. Videos, sure. Music files, okay, we have just individual audio. Office, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. HTML, yes, HTML-based content can now be used, and RSS feeds. We also have Adobe Flash and PDF, and because we have HTML and RSS, this means dynamic content can be implemented. We can also use external inputs through the picture-in-picture processor. And one final really cool piece that I don't get to talk about enough, Data Link. This is Samsung's accessory product. It is a separate license fee, but it allows linking MagicInfo Premium I stuff from the display directly to a database or network source. So for instance, I could link my MagicInfo Premium I displays to, let's say we're talking about a manufacturing company. I could link it to their production system that's putting out production data in SQL, and I link to that SQL database, and as things update in the SQL database, my MagicInfo's displays can update automatically. Or someone wants to take, let's say, the new, the smaller, like the 22-inch displays, and they want to make them a meeting room display. We can link the display to an Exchange database as another example. So we have a variety of those capabilities where we can link those external contents. That's one of the reasons MagicInfo Premium I is, I think, a little higher end solution than the other stuff. So now we get to talk about the PC modules. I just want to give you a little brief. I don't want to computer nerd out on everybody, although I might happen to be one of those. Samsung has updated all of their PC modules. So for 2014, we have two brand new models of Setback Box. Okay, these are going to be for the DB and DM series. All right. And also the UE series, the CF7, and the DA, the SBB CF7 and SBB DA, respectively. You'll notice they're both now quad-core processors. The dual-core is gone. The DA is more powerful. You can see it's a 2.5 gigahertz. They have the same amount of RAM, same operating system. Samsung has migrated completely to Windows 7 embedded now. The DA also has a larger SSD drive built in. They do connect to the display physically from hanger brackets that are on the SBB. There's a couple of screws you install, and then there's a proprietary cable that comes with the SBB. There's two of them, a 6-foot and a 1-foot. It's a DisplayPort to DVI cable. You plug it into the MagicInfo out You can see that there's two DisplayPort outs on the SBB, the one on the left. Okay, you plug it in that, and you plug it in the DVI MagicInfo in port on the display. That will take over the DVI port, and that display will be renaming that input MagicInfo for you. Okay. Now for the DH series, or some of the things like the ED65D and ED75D, we have the plug-in modules. These are smaller PCs. They use an OPS, or Open Pluggable Specification standard. So you can see it's a frame that bolts to the back of the display. There's a ribbon cable that gets connected to a connector on the inside of the display. There's a small cable you have to remove. On the ED, on the DH, you don't need the frame anymore. It just slides straight into the back of the display. There's a socket for it. And this doesn't require the external power or external video cabling that the SBBs do. So it's a little more convenient. You're going to see we have two quad-core modules. One is 32 gig SSD, one is 128 gig SSD. But notice the PIM BF7, Windows 7 embedded, 32 gig SSD, BF7P, Windows 7 Professional. That one's really targeted for the customers who want to use digital whiteboards. Not the topic of the presentation here, but Samsung has a complete line of touch overlays. I'm going to bring it back around to MagicInfo, I promise. I'm not going off on a tangent. Well, a little bit of one. Heather will get me later. But we do have a full line of digital whiteboard solutions with whiteboard software. So for those customers who want to use that, that plug-in module paired with like an ED75D and the touch overlay for it, that'll give you a very cost-effective 75-inch touchscreen with great digital whiteboard software. But that's another webinar. Also, by the way, one thing I want to point out, Samsung has incorporated PC-less touch into the new displays. So if you put a touch overlay onto one of the D-series displays, DB, DM, DH, if you plug it into the onboard media player, you can use all the on-screen menus with the touch overlay. And it allows for touch-enabled content with MagicInfo Premium S. And if you plug it into the PC module, MagicInfo Premium I. So we have full touch content capability for interactive digital signage as well. MagicInfo Premium I licensing. I want to touch on it a little bit. We get 5 licenses free. Okay, so 5 displays can be used at no cost. They still have to buy all the hardware. So if they want to do 11 monitors, the first 5 are free. They'll need to buy 6 licenses, and it's licensed per display, just like Premium S. Hopefully that's clear. We'll actually be able to share, we have a licensing guide and a MagicInfo comparison chart. I'll be happy to share with everybody. I'm going to put my contact info up on the screen in just a second, and I'll be happy to send those things to you. Not a problem. Speaking of, there we go. So I know we have an enormous amount of information we just shared with you in a relatively short period of time. I wanted to leave a good 15 minutes for questions or so that I can talk to you guys, because I like having a little bit of an interactive presentation, and I want to make sure I address any questions or concerns you guys have. There's my email address and my phone number, also my engineering services manager, Brian. We're here to help you guys. One thing I want to point out is that working in partnership with a great distributor like IAVI, Samsung has provided our services here at Braun Consulting to you. So as an authorized Samsung reseller, buying through one of Samsung's Tier 1 distributors like IAVI, we can provide services not just like this webinar for you, but we can help you in a variety of different ways. You can call on us for product information and support. You can call on us for design information. What product should we use? How does it fit into a system? Is this the right solution? We can offer information about, well, basically everything short of is it in stock and what does it cost? I'll direct you to your IAVI sales rep for that. We'll help you with everything else. We also help with technical support, and we provide training and demonstration on behalf of Samsung. So if you've got a customer opportunity, you can contact us. You can do that through IAVI or do it directly. We'll help you with demonstrating MagicInfo software. We can meet with your customer if you would like, and you would do that remotely via webinar, via conference call. We can also offer training both to you on Samsung's products in addition to what you're seeing here today. You can also offer training for your end user as well. So however you feel comfortable engaging, we are here to support you. That's a value add that Samsung provides through their value-added distributors like IAVI. All right, so I want to open it up for questions. I'm happy to answer those for you. Hopefully you guys have found this very informative, and this has kind of gotten you a little excited about all of Samsung's digital signage solutions. I know we have a bunch, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Jonathan, there were a couple questions that people typed in. Do you want me to read them to you, or can you go and find them?
Yeah, would you mind? That would be really helpful.
Okay. So Danny is asking, it looks like he says, can we interact MagicInfo and Samsung Smart School? I think that's what he's asking.
Ooh, that's a good question. The technologies are similar. So Samsung's Smart School solution does use the digital whiteboard component of Samsung's displays. You can conceivably do that because you'd be switching the input from the PC that's running the Smart School to the MagicInfo. So yeah, you could do that. And since if someone's already putting in Samsung Smart School, they're going to have the Samsung commercial displays that already contain MagicInfo. So that's a good question. And it's great to see somebody asking questions about Smart School. I think that is one of the least known products that Samsung has done and one of the coolest.
Okay, another question from Michael says, I thought that the MagicInfo Lite was discontinued. Danny says, thank you, by the way.
Oh, well, he is quite welcome. MagicInfo Lite has not yet been discontinued. It probably will be in the next year or so. Samsung has extended a lot of the product cycles. So instead of updating them every year, now that they've built such a solid platform, they're going to do minor tweaks because for all of us who resell this stuff and for guys like myself who have to design using it and helping support you guys, we don't want to have to cycle through those every year, kind of like their cell phones. I just replaced my Note 3 with a Note 4, and we're on like a 9-month product cycle for these things. I can't afford to keep up with that, so they don't want to do that. So there's going to be a little bit longer development cycle now, so you're going to see more of those products hang around. So Lite hasn't been discontinued yet. It's still shipping on all of the displays, and for those customers who have it, it'll still be around. So not gone yet, maybe in the future, but not yet.
Great, thank you. Leslie asks, is there a comparison sheet displaying the different options of MagicInfo that is customer-friendly?
Yes, there is, and if somebody sends me an email, just jonathan@braunconsulting.com, it's right there on your screen. I'll be happy to send you a copy. We have a comparison chart of all 4 versions of MagicInfo, and we have cheat sheets on the displays, PC modules, licensing, you name it. We've got a ton of resources I'll be happy to share.
Okay, Fernando asks, which solutions are based in Scala, I guess that is, Scala software?
Ooh, Scala is a great product. Scala is the single largest digital signage software company in existence. So if we were going to compare Scala to a Samsung product, it would be closest to MagicInfo Premium I. Now, there is one further aspect of these displays that I didn't talk about because this was primarily a MagicInfo webinar. But I do want to point out that Samsung has what they call their Smart Signage platform. Since Fernando asked the question, I want to make sure I share that. The Smart Signage platform allows for third-party software to run on that onboard system on a chip, or SoC, that also runs MagicInfo. There's about 11 software companies that have built compatible versions. Scala is one of them. Okay, Capital Networks Limited, 11 Giraffes, Signage Live, HyperSign, Forwinds Interactive, Wireless Ronin. I'm sure I'm going to leave somebody out, and I'll probably get a nasty email, and I'm sorry, whoever I forgot. But that gives you an idea. That was 7 of them. There are going to be more, I'm sure. But those products will also run on that system on a chip. So you do have the option of using those in partnership with the Samsung displays with no extra media player required. But if I was going to compare a version of MagicInfo to something like Scala, it'd definitely be Premium I.
Okay, for now, those are the only questions.
One other thing I'll add, I'm sorry, Heather, I didn't mean to interrupt. One other thing I'd add is if someone wanted to run a full third-party PC-based digital signage software, you could use a Samsung display with the PC module and load your own software on it instead of MagicInfo. That would certainly work.
Okay, for now, those are the only questions. Oh, here's another one. Which distributor will be handling Samsung DS for the Caribbean? Fernando, I believe you can turn to IAVI for that. We do have a global unit. There's IAVIglobal.com, and if you give us a call, we're happy to direct you to an appropriate sales representative.
You sure that you didn't plant him in the audience, Heather, to set yourself up for that one?
I sure did. Thanks, Fernando. And our number, in case you do not have it, we have an 888-999-6564. So, okay, it looks like a couple just popped in some more questions. Leslie says, customers are always asking for smart TVs and we steer them to commercial panels. Do commercial TVs have similar capabilities to consumer smart TVs?
In a very real sense, yes, but not all of it. So for instance, the commercial displays, they're not going to play Netflix, at least not without an added dongle like a Roku streaming box or a Chromecast or something like that. But we do have DLNA compatibility for streaming that way. That's something that I don't think gets mentioned much. Drives me crazy. I boot up the displays here in my home office, and they pick up every single Chromecast, every single receiver, every single other television I have, every Blu-ray player. So my source list is just like giant. So they do support that. But we get a lot of things on the commercial displays that a consumer television will never do, like all the digital signage functions. And a commercial display is just generally built more durably. A consumer TV is meant to last about 1 year, maybe 18 months. Yes, really, they honestly do expect us to buy new ones that often. And some of us, like yours truly, are gullible enough that we do. But the systems are also built, the commercial ones have better cooling, longer duty cycles. A consumer TV is meant to be on about 4 to 6 hours per day, and then the rest of it's off. A commercial display is 16 hours minimum. A consumer display has no warranty in a commercial installation, maybe at best 90 days, but typically it's no warranty. A commercial display has 3 years on-site parts and labor. So it kind of falls under the risk abatement concept. How much risk are you getting? You spend a little bit more, you get a lot of functions. But if you want a TV that's just going to play Netflix, sell them a DM and put a Roku on the back. They'll be much happier.
Now, Leslie followed that up with maybe for Skype or video conferencing. I'm not sure if you actually covered that in your answer right there.
Oh, no, I did not. But actually, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give a plug for one of Samsung's big partners. Obviously, Google is somebody very near and dear to Samsung. Samsung makes what's known as a Chrome box. Okay, so Chrome boxes are really neat little Chrome operating system. Yes, Chrome is not just a browser. For those of you familiar with the Chromebooks that Samsung does and the Chrome boxes, Chrome is actually an operating system. And Samsung launched a line of Chromebooks, which are very low-cost laptops that have, you know, full keyboard, mouse, all that kind of good stuff. They're regular laptop, 11-inch, 13-inch sizes, but they run Chrome instead of Windows, so they're very, very inexpensive. And they focus around Google's tools. But Google did a partnership where you can take a Chrome box, which is just, it looks like a Roku. It's a little small kind of set-top box type device that runs Chrome. You plug in a keyboard and mouse via USB, you plug in a monitor via HDMI, and you can plug in a camera, and that actually can run Skype. And Google actually sells a package where it'll be a Chrome box and a Logitech camera that is brilliant, that'll work on any display, that'll turn it into a very nice, powerful video conferencing solution that's actually better than what you'll find built into most of the smart TVs, which have kind of a stripped-down Skype client. So you can do content sharing and some other things, multi-screen support, some other fun stuff. So really a neat tool. I actually have one that I use myself here in my office.
Fernando is also asking anything in the cloud.
Ooh, no, Samsung does not do cloud-based solutions for their digital signage. Most of the third-party providers who do that smart signage platform, like 11 Giraffe, Signage Live, Capital Networks, those are all cloud-based solutions. So like 11 Giraffes is a great example, very low-cost, cloud-based solution. Their data center is here in the States, but you know, you pay a small subscription and you don't have to host any of the software yourself. So there are a number of them out there that are compatible with the displays. Samsung's own MagicInfo is not cloud-based at this time. Maybe in the future, but not today.
Okay, Ronald is asking, so if someone was to want to utilize Vizix Access TV, would this software function on this Samsung onboard PC?
I can't speak to Vizix specifically. My apologies on that one. I've not seen that run. It's entirely possible it might, but that would be a question that Vizix would probably have to answer. I haven't seen it done. So at this point, I'm going to guess probably not, but they could develop a version that would work.
Okay, so for now, it looks like we've covered all the questions. Let's just give people a minute or two to see if they have any follow-ups.
Hey, you guys have been a great audience today. You've been getting me some great questions, so I really appreciate that. This is the kind of webinar I like to do.
Good. Well, we definitely appreciate your time and your expertise.
Oh, that's my pleasure. I love doing this stuff. Any other brilliant questions, guys?
I don't see anything coming through, so it looks like you kept it down to 45 minutes, Jonathan. I'm impressed.
My goodness, I do not have a reputation for punctuality or brevity. Nice. That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you all for your interest in Samsung's products. So on behalf of Samsung, thank you very much for attending. And like I said, if you want a copy of the slide deck, you want any of the information that we talked about, reference sheets or anything, my email is still up on the screen. I've left it up the whole time on purpose. You can email either me or Brian. I'm happy to help you guys out.
Jonathan, we actually got a late question popped in. Are the digital signage capable for outdoor use? I believe that's what this question is, from John.
Ah, okay, great question. Right now, no, but in the very near future, yes. Next month, Samsung is launching a line of outdoor displays. We have had one in the past, so you may have seen some of the older CCFL lit outdoor displays. There will be a semi-outdoor display, which will not be weatherproof, but will be bright enough, 1,500 nits, 2,500 nits, and there'll be a 5,000 nit version that you'll be able to use. Those would be for like storefront displays, that kind of thing. And then there will be a fully outdoor weatherproof kit display that will have MagicInfo options, full onboard system on chip, all that you can put in your own enclosure. So it doesn't have the plastic bezel. It's got mounting tabs, so you can incorporate it into your own outdoor, more durable enclosure, but it is fully weatherproofed with all the heating and cooling that's necessary. So stay tuned. That's a December thing, but very, very near future. That was a great question, by the way.
And so far, that looks like it again. I just want to remind everyone also, we have recorded this webinar, and towards the end of this, well, that would be tomorrow. So if you don't receive a recording link tomorrow, you'll receive it very early next week. We've got everyone's information, and we're going to share this with you. Maybe you weren't able to attend the whole thing or pay attention to the whole thing if you got a phone call. So we want to make sure that everyone gets the full presentation, and you can view the recording at your leisure. Okay, I think we're done, Jonathan.
Beautiful. All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Heather, for having me out. Thanks to the team at IAVI for the webinar. I think this was fantastic.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, everyone. Have a great end of the week and weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.